instructed to do that. We've always been instructed to hide and stay quiet. I like to think I would intervene. I would be someone that tried to help the students around me. I don't know how I'd react in that kind of situation.
Want to be one of the people that would try to help, but we haven't been taught how to do anything about that. It's just been make sure that you have something blocking the door, all the lights are off.
These students know how to hide and stay quiet, but when it comes to a medical emergency in times of crisis, the response changes.
Yeah, taught to do anything like to help people. We haven't really been taught anything like that. It's pretty much just if like a code red or something happens, you just pretty much get in the corner, sit there and wait pretty much. That's all we're told to do.
Same thing as them. We don't really train to do anything except, get behind the line and hide under the counters or the cabinets and wait there until they tell you to get out.
News 6 reached out to each Central Florida school district to see if they provide any medical training about trauma care to students during active shooter drills. Osceola, Brevard, Volusia, Flagler, all responding saying they don't cover that specific training during their drill.
Speaking about what I've been taught in school, again, it's like getting behind, turning the lights off, moving your book bags. It's almost terrifying for school to be like, if someone is down on the ground bleeding, here's what you need. It's terrifying that the reality is that it would get that far rather than just being holed up in an area.
All right, and those students just gave us such insight into what they have to deal with on a daily basis. And you never know how you're going to respond to an emergency. And they're not required to respond in any way, shape, or form. But many of them were discussing just what they think they might do. And that's all any of us can do in case of an emergency is speculate if you would want to come in and help. And that we talked about the shooting that happened in Colorado, and the 18-year-old student who ended up being killed rushed in to help. He was an only child. His parents are devastated, but he, in his last act on this planet, did something very heroic, and most students would hope that they would do the same thing.
And every time we hear from this group of students, it always just strikes me, it makes me so sad that these students have never known a time when this didn't happen on a regular basis. And so their thought process is so different than what it was when we were in school.
Oh, of course, you go back to 1999 when we all remember the first mass school shooting in recent memory, not that that's the first one that ever happened, but the first one that really captured our attention, which happened in Columbine. Those students were born after that period, so that's all they have ever known. They deal day in and day out with drills, some of them real, some of them not real. We do lockdowns and lockouts all the time. And these students have to go back to their daily activities. And very often these happen on days where they're testing, because some students will call in a threat because they don't want to take a test that day. And so the day is disrupted for them, but they have to go back and then just regroup, refocus, and move forward with the rest of their day, hoping that something like that isn't real the next time they hear it, but they just don't know.
And there's, go ahead. It seems as if each district is having to make decisions on what they want to do. And how do these students feel about the different initiatives like the Guardian program?
Well, most of the students did not want, there was one student who was the exception. His name is James. He felt that it was a great idea because Governor Ron DeSantis just signed the bill allowing teachers to be armed in classroom. Osceola County just voted that down. Their school board just voted that down just last night. But many of the students said they did not want their teachers to have to make that decision between maybe shooting someone who was a classmate sitting right next to them the day before, or even earlier that morning. So who would want their teacher to have to make that decision? And they were saying they feel good with law enforcement in school or security officers the way it is right now. They just don't want their teachers, for the majority of them, there was one exception, they do not want their teachers to have guns in the classroom.
I mean, and that is for the teachers. And how have students been trained after all of these, mass shootings that we've been seeing? I mean, I know Marion County said that they're doing kind of first aid. I mean, how is that being incorporated into their
they're not going to ask their students to get involved in any way, shape, or form or to run in to help. And as you heard the first student in the piece, he said they are told to run and hide. And that is the drill for most students. But a lot of them, I feel like if there is a classmate of yours, and God forbid something should happen here at work, if one of you were injured, I would like to think that I would try to come in and help you because we're all friends. We're not just colleagues, we're also friends. But you don't know, it's that fight or flight. Which one will you do in that moment of crisis? And these are young minds who have to make a decision at the last minute, and they may not realize that that's a deadly consequence and you're not coming back from that.
Well, thank you for giving them a voice and keeping in touch with them.
Oh my goodness, if these kids are our future, I feel so much better about things in this world because they are very bright. Only one of them was a sophomore. The rest of them are graduating and heading off to college. So I wish them the best of luck, and I hope that they continue to keep in touch and let us know how things are going as they move forward. But I feel like most of those students we will hear from again in a very big and positive way.
Yeah, they're a great group. And thank you for getting up early and coming and being with us this morning.
Yeah, I'm going back now.
Okay.
Going back into
It's nice to see you ladies. Yeah, it's very good.
Thanks, Ginger.